You're listening to Rise to Your Purpose, a personal and spiritual development podcast for female entrepreneurs with a mission.
We're your hosts, Brandie and Natalie.
Welcome to episode 11 of Rise to Your Purpose. I'm so excited for you guys to check out this next episode. This will be an interview between myself, Brandie, with my good friend Melodie Bishop, and she is the founder of Abundant MomLife with Melodie, and her mission is to help overwhelmed network marketing mamas simplify and organize their home, their work life, so that you can really just be more productive and live abundant. So I'm, as a new mom, super excited to share this information with you guys, and so I hope you enjoy this episode. Hey friends, thank you guys so much for joining. I'm Brandie, for those of you who are new to my page or new to the podcast, and I'm one of the creators of Victorious Entrepreneurs Rising and the Rise to Your Purpose program and podcast. And my passion is helping entrepreneurs align their values with their business so that they can create a mission-driven business with a kingdom impact. And so that's why I'm really excited to introduce you to my friend Melodie Bishop. And she is a brand influencer, a team leader, and the founder of Abundant MomLife with Melodie. And her mission is to help overwhelmed network marketing mamas simplify and organize their home and work life so they can work more productively and live more abundantly. And I'm like, hey girl, sign me up. I'm a new mama.
That's right. Everybody wants abundance, right?
And productivity. That's like finding that work-life balance. I've been off maternity leave for about 5 weeks now, and I'm still kind of every day. It's like a new day with a baby.
Congrats.
Figuring out. Thank you. Figuring out like, okay, what's like today? He slept like 11:30 till 3:30ish. He just like woke up right before this, so he's hanging out with my husband right now. But other days he's like just crying,
yep.
Or you never know what you're going to get with a baby. So
this is true. I remember those days well.
Yeah, I'm so excited to hear more about your mission and your journey and how you like help other women and mamas. So I would love to know, just like tell us a little bit about your mission and like how you got started with this.
Yeah. I was a music teacher for many years before I joined network marketing, and I feel like network marketing found me because when I first joined, I had never been to a network marketing party. I had never purchased any network marketing product. I just kind of fell into it. I was in between jobs, and I wanted to be able to stay home with my youngest, who at that time he was a baby. He was about a little over 1 year old when I began over 6 years ago. And I had no idea what I was doing, which I think all of us, when we start, we're just kind of like, okay, what am I doing? What do I do next? Yeah. So I learned a lot in the beginning. And just like you, my youngest didn't nap. So it was a challenge. And I remember my workspace was my son's, my oldest. I have a 7-year-old and a 13-year-old. I stole his computer desk, his homework desk, put it down in the living room because my youngest wouldn't nap. So he was constantly there, was always on top of me. And that was how I grew my business the first 3 years, and, grew to a huge downline of women that I was supporting. So anybody can do this. And I absolutely love what I do now. I was a worship leader for many years, and music pastor in many different churches. And when that door closed, which I felt that, God was leading me in a different direction, I felt kind of lost for a while because I had based my identity in being a music teacher and a worship pastor for so many years. That's what I went to school for, and I definitely still feel that's a calling on my life, but I felt God was moving me into a new season. And if you would have asked me, 7 years ago, if I would be doing what I'm doing right now, I would have said, you are crazy. But once I realized that this was more than just a way to pay my bills, because that's why I started. That's why most of us start, right? Our why is it's either time or it's money. So for me, it was kind of both. And once I realized it was a mission and a ministry, that's when God really flipped the script in my brain. And I realized that I was able to reach and lead and impact and inspire and empower more women, and just minister to them than I had ever before as a worship leader in church. And that online world is just amazing. And since then, you know, he has totally blessed my business once I gave it over to him, and I've seen him transform women's lives. And it's just such an amazing ministry and a blessing for my whole family.
I love that. I didn't know all of that about you. So I have like goosebumps right now. Just like hearing, you know, I love when the Holy Spirit comes into our podcast. It's so fun.
Yeah.
And just
That's right. Bring it on in.
Feeling that he's always welcome here. And I just love that. How that very similar to Natalie and I, how we had our identity so caught up in like our rank or promotion or, you know, and being a network marketer. And then once we flipped our mindset into, no, this is really God's business, and how can I use it to further his kingdom and bring glory to him and minister to those women in our audience or in our like community. That's, like you said, that's when things just change and you feel that shift in your business. Because now you're working with Holy Spirit empowerment, right? And you're like,
that's right.
Not just you. You got like the king on your side.
You got your business partner, you know?
Because you're like CEO and, you know, co-founder. Yeah. So I love that. So what is inspiring you right now in your business? I know you've mentioned a few things you've got on the docket coming up.
Yeah. So this past year has been amazing. I felt God really calling me out to go deeper in my business. And so social platforms is something I've really been focusing on and something where I'm about to grow. So that's really inspiring me. I've been learning so much about all the different ways that you can reach more people and serve more people and kind of expand. So I've very much been focused on value content, serving my who, finding my field of favor, and lots of other different things. So I'm really excited about the next year. And you know what? In the middle of quarantine, if you're watching this or listening to this at another time, we're in the middle of quarantine still. And one of the things I've really been inspired, being an entrepreneur, I consider myself an entrepreneur myself, is I've seen so many other entrepreneurs rising up and really just getting out there, you know, using their voice for good and sharing so much value content and just being a light in this crazy time. And that's really been inspiring me to do the same and to dive even deeper instead of sitting back and kind of waiting for everything to blow over. I find that it's in the struggle, it's in the times of struggle where God really calls, you know, you to be more. He calls that out of you. So I've been really working hard, you know, keeping my nose down and learning and implementing. And that's what's really inspiring me right now, just watching other entrepreneurs, especially kingdom-minded entrepreneurs, doing the same during this time. So
yes, that's so awesome. And I totally agree with you. Like I feel more creative right now in this space because we have a little bit more space and downtime to kind of dive into what is that calling that God has for us and what's that next step instead of just sitting. Unless you're in a season of sitting, we actually just did a podcast about, are you in a season of sit, stretch, or, you know, walking? And so I feel like right now I'm in a season of like run, like walk, run, like let's go to that next thing. We've been in a season of sitting. It's time to get up, take your mat and walk.
Absolutely.
So I love that. As you've been on your journey, you know, we all have fear. We all have to build up our confidence. How did you conquer that fear? How did you build up that confidence when you were building your brand and your business and like finding your truth and going to stand in your truth?
Yes, fear is something we all deal with, right? And on different levels, they stem from different things. As a woman, I feel, especially as a woman entrepreneur, we are so hard on ourselves. You know, we're our own worst critic.
Yes.
And especially as speaking from the perspective of a mompreneur or a work at home, network marketing mom, building a business, building a brand, I know that we often get stuck in this comparison. We see others and maybe they're moving faster than we are, or maybe they're doing something in a different way. And we think, why didn't we think of that? Or we just don't see necessarily the success that maybe they're having, but we don't see their journey. And comparison is often, I feel, as women, and especially as moms who have so many different balls in the air, so many distractions, we're pulled in so many different directions. There's so many people who need us. Comparison is one of those things that we struggle with, and it's the thief of joy. Comparison is the thief of joy. And it really is silly, because when you think about it, you really can't compare your journey to someone else's, because God has called you on a unique journey that was tailored and molded specifically for who you are, who he created you to be. So your journey is not going to look the same as someone else's, and it shouldn't. So, but that often creeps up in our minds. And when I find myself going there, having those thoughts that maybe you're not good enough, or you're not moving faster, or you're frustrated because you're having to spend more time with your family because they need you in a certain season, and you always have that ebb and flow, those things, the mom guilt, like, I should be spending more time with my family, I should be working more on my business, how do I find that harmony? I always remember that God is not a God of confusion. And if those thoughts are in your mind, it's not of God, it is the enemy. And if the enemy can't steal your soul, he's going to keep you stuck.
Yes.
He's going to keep you stuck so that you cannot impact the life of anybody else, right? Because he sees, what you do not see, just like God sees what you do not see. He knows, who you're going to impact, the people of lives you're going to change. And he wants to keep you from that. He wants to keep you stuck. So I have to go to a quiet place. I have to remind myself who I am, and that my identity is in who God created me to be. And that I don't have to compare myself to anybody else, but the journey that God has me on. So fear, I always like to say that the real definition of fear should be face everything and rise. And I tell that to my team, because I know that's something that we all deal with, but women especially, with comparison. Own your journey, own your purpose and own your path, and get those blinders on and stay focused, and you'll be okay.
I love everything that you just said, because I've gone on that journey myself of comparing myself to others, like getting into that lack of self-worth trap and falling into that comparison-itis, if you will. And losing my identity. And this past year, even going on my own journey of reprogramming my mind, reaffirming my identity as a daughter of a king, which I love to say makes you royalty status, is stepping into that, like,
that's right,
I'm royalty, and this is my identity, and stepping into my true calling, even if it's not going to live up to the expectations of others, or people think that you should be doing one thing and you're like, this is not in alignment with me, this is not where I'm supposed to be. And so I think that's so I had a follow-up question, like, what do you have specific advice for new female entrepreneurs in this industry? I don't know if that was your advice, or if you have any other advice that you'd want to give.
Sure. Yeah, I think one of the really important things to remember is nobody starts this as an expert. We all start as a beginner. And I like to use the term SLAY, which for me stands for seek, learn, take action, or apply, and then you yield results. So it's this process, you have to go through the whole process in order for you to actually have success on your journey. So you have to realize there's going to be times where you have to, seek out knowledge that you don't know. And oftentimes when you start something you don't know what you don't know. So part of the journey is going on, you see something, you're like, oh, I didn't know that was a thing. Let's learn about that. So my biggest advice would be to be a student of your own business, be a student of your own journey. Never stop learning. So always realize that you need to seek out what you need to learn. And that could either be something new that you don't know how to do, or it could be going deeper into the strengths and gifts that you have, natural abilities that you have. And then you need to learn. After you seek what you need to learn, you need to learn. Spend some time learning. But then we get stuck there often, especially as entrepreneurs. It's kind of like the shiny new syndrome, right? You see all these different things and it distracts you. And before you know it, you spent hours learning or weeks learning and you haven't applied anything. So you have to make sure that you have, one part learning and then one part application, and keep that moving, okay? And then you're going to yield results, and you just keep on going back and repeating that. But I find that people get so stuck and overwhelmed with everything that they don't know that they never move through that whole process. So you just have to keep on moving and, master one thing in your business at a time. Get really good at it and then move on to the next thing. So that would be my best advice, is just to never stop learning. And I actually wrote down a quote. I didn't want to butcher it because it's Zig Ziglar, and I don't like butchering his stuff.
Yeah,
I wrote down a quote by Zig Ziglar for this, and it says, "If you are not willing to learn, no one can help you. If you are determined to learn, no one can stop you." And that's so true, especially as believers. We should always be learning,
I love that. And I love the SLAY. That's such a good acronym that you can keep in your back pocket and just carry with you, or, as a tool.
Yeah, you can apply that to so many things in your life, not just your business.
But what is some advice that you would give to help women be authentic or stand in that true calling?
Oh, yeah. So when I started this journey, I really wanted to be authentic. And over the past year, I've really started to learn exactly what that looks like. Because I felt like the first 5 years was God just really helping me master the basics of this business, of what we do as network marketers. And that way teach my team how to do that. So we had the foundation down pat. And now going deeper, I'm really starting to see, hey, I can actually put more of myself, who I am, who God has created me to be, into my business. And I don't know why that never really dawned on me before, but, and that's kind of what I'm really good at. When I look back on the past, first 5 years of my business, the spots where I grew, the places where I had the most growth, the most explosive growth, was when I was tapping into my unique strengths and how I can serve my audience in that way. And that's when, and my team in that way. And that's when we had the most growth. So diving into that deeper, I would just say that own who you are, okay? Own your strengths. And God has placed desires upon your heart for a very specific reason, okay? There's a reason why you think the way you think, you feel the way you feel, certain things set your soul on fire. Those are cues into your purpose and into who you are and into how you can best serve the world. So to be authentic, it's kind of like a process. You're never going to just wake up one day and be like, hey, I know exactly, I know exactly how I'm going. No, it's a process. It's like a journey. God gives you these little revelations along the way, and you start to put the pieces together and then realize, hey, this is building my brand. And once you're living in your authentic self, who God has created you to be, you know who you are meant to serve, which is usually somebody exactly like who you are or who you used to be, so that you can move them along that path from where you were to where you are now. Then you have so much more joy, so much more expectation in your business. You have so much more purpose, so much more passion, and it really starts to become something that isn't just a job or a hobby or a side gig or a side hustle, or all those things that we call it. But it becomes your calling, and when you can own that and own that this is who you are. You are meant to serve a specific sphere of influence. They call it the oikos in Greek, and that's basically what it is. It's called your sphere of influence. So everyone that God brings into your life, whether it's a client that you meet, or whether it's somebody who joined your team and you're guiding them and leading them, whoever comes into your path, whether it's for big or small things, you are a piece of their puzzle. And you need to remember that in order for you to best serve them, you need to stay true and authentic to yourself. So you're going to see lots of people doing different things, different ways, but not everything's going to align with your purpose and who God's created you to be. And that's okay. So some things you might, take and apply to your journey, and other things you might say, no, that doesn't align with me. Doesn't align with my values, doesn't align with my character, it doesn't align with the path that I'm going on. And that's okay. So just stay true to yourself. That would be my best advice.
I love that. And that's like a lot of what Natalie and I teach in our Rise to Your Purpose program. And that is like, that journey is what inspired us, because we felt like we had to be stuck into, this is the only way to build your business. And we're like, well, this way doesn't necessarily align to us. And some people are doing this over here and we like that. And how can we mesh them together and kind of make our own way of doing things? And so that's why we teach you how to build a business that works for you. We want you to lean into your strengths, lean into your purpose, and take the tools from, the industry and apply them to work for you. so that you can build that authentic business that works for you and your calling. So I love that you talked about that and that was your advice. That's beautiful. So what are some affirmations that you tell yourself to stay in your calling, to stay in that confidence and, get away from that fear?
Absolutely. And you mentioned one of them. I just always remind myself that I am a child of God. I am a daughter of the Most High King, and I have everything that I need to be successful. And I am a warrior, and I am making a difference. I am inspiring women all around the world to chase after their purpose and chase after their goals and their dreams with boldness. So I speak those things because, those are the things that the enemy wants to attack me specifically on. And I think that your affirmations, and they of course evolve and they change, but they have to be counteractive to whatever the enemy is throwing at you, in your mind. So whatever your insecurities are, make the opposite, your affirmation statements, and always stake it in your identity in Christ.
I love that. That's one thing I teach, and I have an acronym that I love to use is F plus GOAT, and it stands for forgiveness, gratitude, oxygen, affirmations, and truth. And so when I'm doing affirmations, I love to partner them with truth, which is the Bible verse. And so like if I'm going to say like I am strong, then I might use I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And yeah, I think that's so important, especially because we are as Christians going to come across battles with the enemy, and so that's why God gave us that armor to put on, and we can activate that armor through prayer and through speaking the scriptures, and that's like where our power comes from. So I love, that you have your identity in Christ and that you are speaking those truths over you to combat that, those fiery arrows that may be coming towards us. So awesome. As we wrap up, do you have anything else you want to share about your mission and where people can find you and how they can get more access to you?
Sure. I felt I had a really big heart for work-at-home moms and network marketing mamas, because I am a work-at-home network marketing mama, and I saw that it's just so unique because a lot of people they go out of the home to work. They have an office, or they have a classroom, or they have a cubicle, or whatever the case may be. And with work-at-home moms especially, our home and our office are one and the same. And many of us have, little ones running around. And when I ask, what is the thing that you struggle with the most across the board, I hear that it's how do I, and I hate the word balance, I like the word harmony, but how do I find balance between, my family life and my work life? And there really is no balance. It's kind of, you're just finding harmony. And in some seasons you need to devote more time to your family. In other seasons you can devote more time to your business. But over the years, because I began, with my little one as a baby at home, and my oldest, and both of my kids are special needs. So I found that I really mastered how to be productive with my work time and to get a lot done in a short amount of time. Now, it didn't start off that way. It was a process, but I remember being so frustrated, just like most moms are who work from home, with finding time to work my business and work it well, that I'm like, I have to figure this out. I have to figure this out, not just for me, but also to be able to teach the women on my team, because most of them are moms as well, how to do this as well, because I kept hearing the I don't have time phrase. I don't have time, and I have a whole talk on that. So that's kind of how this was birthed and how this was born. And my new field of favor became network marketing moms, helping them to work more productively, helping them to simplify and organize their home and work life, because we work at home. So your home life has to be simplified and organized, and your work life has to be simplified and organized, because they have to work in harmony together, so that you have more time to live abundantly and you have more time for what matters most. Because that's why most of us joined our company and became a network marketer in the first place, was so that we could have more flexibility of time to spend more time with our family and to be there for our family and not have the regular 9 to 5 corporate job with a long commute, So that's how this was born. So that's what I do. And I share a lot of productive tips. I share a lot of trainings, and I kind of help with, I know you talk a lot about mindset, so I do a little bit of that, but systems, creating command centers, how to focus and prioritize. I have a thing I call Prioritime your day so that you can work in those little pockets of time. So I have a lot of free content over on my business page. So that's probably the best place to connect with me. And that's Abundant MomLife with Melodie. And then you can also follow me, my profile on Facebook as well, Melodie Bishop. You can find me from over there. And I have a new freebie that's coming out soon that will be pinned to the top of my business page. And it's going to be a video mini course and blueprint all about maximizing your productivity. And it's called Productivity Pathways. And it's going to be specifically tailored for network marketing moms who are overwhelmed and just want to be able to grow their business, but they don't know how to get the work done.
I love that. I'll definitely be checking out your business page or going to at least watch the video for sure, because I'm definitely interested. I thought I was like very productive and had all this time management skills, and then you throw a baby in the mix and you're like, oh, maybe you don't know it all.
That's right.
So I'm definitely, like you said, slaying, always learning, and willing to apply some new tips and tricks that a previous, you're the expert in the mama business field. So I'm excited to learn from you as well. So one thing I love to do before I close is to ask. So my hashtag for the year is #selflove_is, because I've been on this self-love journey, and I just think it's so important to do something daily for yourself that is just going to allow you to fill your cup. So instead of you're tipping over, you're overflowing with love. So what would you say your hashtag self-love is for today, or just in general?
Yeah, I would say self-love is finding your identity in Christ. And also, you really need to fight to find that time to, pour into yourself and fill your cup. And, God doesn't want us to walk around as like empty vessels, because we're no good to anybody that way, right? But especially as moms, and entrepreneurs and women, we're nurturers by nature. So we're constantly giving and giving and serving and serving. And before we know it, we're at the end of the day and we're exhausted. And, how do I find time for myself? I hear that all the time, So you have to find whatever works for you. So for me, it's putting on praise music. That really helps me, just kind of get all the stinking thinking out and get in an attitude of gratitude. I know for other people, they kind of like, I've been watching This Is Us, at night. Yeah, I've just been binging it, with quarantine at nighttime, just something. So maybe they'll watch something, or, maybe you'll spend, obviously I have my miracle mornings where I spend time in the Word, and then I have some quiet time. But you have to find what, best fills your cup. And then you have to make that a non-negotiable, and you really have to just fit that into your day. So whether it's in the morning or whether it's at night, whatever time works best for you, you just have to figure out what's going to fill your cup the most and fight for that time. You have to fight for that time, because you're constantly going to have, like you said, the little arrows, the distractions, and you might find yourself doing all good things, like serving your family is a good thing, volunteering at church, being in ministry is a good thing, serving your team and your clients is a good thing. But then what happens when you can't do that anymore? You're burnt out. You can't serve anyone. So you have to really fight for that time. So I would say to, stake your identity in Christ, know your worth, and fight, know your worth, and know that you are worthy of finding that time. I am worthy of having some time for myself, and figure out whatever fills your cup, because it's different for everybody.
Awesome. I love it. I'm so glad God brought us together, because I feel like we're definitely,
I love what you're doing, over in your group and on your page, and how fun to be working together as sisters. I'm an only child, but I have a lot of friends who are like sisters. So none of them are, well, one of them is in network marketing. It's
been fun to work with my sister, and thankfully we actually know how to work together and be compatible. And not like, there's sometimes we do butt heads on some things, but for the most part, like we we had to learn to live together in our bunk bed, room. And
Aw.
so we had to learn a lot of skills at a young age of how to be a team. So yeah, it's definitely been a blessing as adults to have that relationship and partnership. So Melodie, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
I've been so blessed by your story and just your journey and all the advice and value you've offered today. So thank you so much. And I will have, I'll grab your links and post those in the description as well so people can find you easily. So
thanks so much.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Rise Your Purpose will be a weekly podcast. Our hope is to inspire and educate you on your entrepreneurial journey to help you fuel your passions, live your purpose, and build a business that works for you.
You can subscribe, rate, and comment on any podcast app. We'd love to hear from you. It makes us so happy to see you tuning in to the show. So if you're on Instagram, let us know what your favorite part of the show was by taking a screenshot of the episode you tuned into and tag us at Live Victorious on your story. Let us know what your favorite quote or takeaway from the episode was so that we can be inspired to keep creating content like this for you.
To learn more about us and get involved with our community of mission-driven entrepreneurs, join our Facebook group, Purpose Partners, where we partner together in faith and business. So until next time, build a business that works for you and stay in alignment with your mission.